Ambassador Li Wu-jin stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council Station. The massive chamber stretched high above him, filled with beings from hundreds of different worlds. Some looked like giant insects. Others had tentacles instead of arms. A few floated in liquid-filled suits. All of them looked down at him with cold eyes. Li had been Earth's voice to the galaxy for 10 years now. He had seen this look many times before. It was the same look people gave to animals in a zoo. The council leader, a tall creature called Velthari, stepped forward. His skin was green and covered in scales. His yellow eyes never blinked. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the hall, like thunder. "The council has made its decision about the human species," Velthari announced. "After 50 years of observation, we find that humans are still too dangerous to join galactic society." Li felt his heart sink, but he kept his face calm. He had expected this. The council had been saying the same thing for decades. "Honored council," Li said, bowing low. "My people have changed much since first contact. We have ended most wars. On our world, we have worked hard to prove we can be peaceful." Velthari made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peaceful? Your species fought 17 wars just in the past year. You destroy your own environment. You cannot even agree on simple laws within your own world." Other council members nodded. A floating jellyfish-like being spoke up. "Humans are too violent, too chaotic. They would bring disorder to our perfect society." Li wanted to argue, but he knew it was useless. The council had made up their minds long ago. They saw humans as barely intelligent beasts who were good only for simple work. "Furthermore," Velthari continued, "the council has decided to expand our mining operations in your solar system. Your outer planets contain valuable resources that the galaxy needs." "But those are our worlds," Li said before he could stop himself. The hall went silent. Several council members made angry sounds. Velthari's eyes narrowed. "Your worlds," he repeated slowly. "Humans do not own worlds. You are a quarantine species. You exist only because the council allows it. Everything in your system belongs to the galaxy now." Li felt his hands shake with anger, but he forced himself to stay calm. "My people will not be happy about this decision." "Your people's feelings do not matter," Velthari said. "You are animals. Animals do not get to choose their fate." Captain Park Sora watched from her ship as the alien vessels moved into position around Jupiter. There were dozens of them, each one the size of a city. They had come to strip mine the gas giant and its moons. The humans living on the research stations there would become workers, nothing more than slaves. Her small fleet of Earth ships looked pathetic next to the alien dreadnoughts. The council vessels were sleek and powerful, covered in energy shields that glowed like small suns. Her ships were simple metal boxes with primitive fusion engines. "Captain," her communications officer said, "we're getting a message from the lead council ship." "Put it through," Park said. The alien commander appeared on her screen. It looked like a cross between a spider and a shark. When it spoke, its voice was full of contempt. "Human vessel, you will move your ships away from this system immediately. This area is now under council control." "This is Captain Park Sora of the Earth Defense Force," she replied. "These are human settlements. We have people living here." The alien made a clicking sound. "Not anymore. Your people will work for us now. They should be grateful. We are giving their meaningless lives purpose." Park's crew looked at her with angry faces. She knew they wanted to fight. But their weapons were nothing compared to what the aliens had. A single council ship could destroy her entire fleet without breaking a sweat. "Understood," she said finally. The word tasted like poison in her mouth. Dr. Kim Tae-ho sat in his laboratory on Earth, reading the reports from the outer system. The council had taken control of every human settlement beyond Mars. Thousands of people were now working as slaves in alien mines. Families had been split up. Children were being raised in alien facilities. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was the observation posts. The Council had built massive stations around Earth itself. They called them research facilities, but everyone knew what they really were. They were there to watch humans like scientists watching lab. Rats. Kim pulled up the data from the Council's broadcasts. They were studying human behavior, recording everything humans did. They wanted to understand what made humans so violent and chaotic. The reports were written like humans were animals. Subject shows aggressive behavior when offspring is threatened. Subjects form tribal groups for protection. Subjects display irrational emotional responses to stress. It made Kim sick to read it, but it also made him think. The Council thought they understood humans. They thought humans were simple, violent creatures with no real intelligence. They were wrong, and Kim was starting to realize that their mistake might be the greatest gift humanity had ever received. Lee returned to Earth with the news that everyone expected, but no one wanted to hear. The Council would not lift the quarantine. Humans would remain prisoners on their own world while aliens took everything they wanted from the solar system. But as he stood in the United Earth Assembly, looking at the faces of world leaders, Lee saw something that surprised him. He did not see defeat. He saw anger. Cold, calculating anger. President Nam In-soo spoke for all of them when he said, "They want to see what human violence looks like? Perhaps it is time we showed them." The meeting that followed was held in secret. No records were kept, no names were written down. But by the time the world leaders left that room, humanity had made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. The Council thought humans were dangerous animals. They were about to learn just how right they were. In the months that followed, the alien observation post recorded many things about human behavior. They saw humans going about their daily lives, working in their cities, raising their children. Everything looked normal and peaceful. The observers were pleased. The humans seemed to be accepting their fate. They were learning their place in the galaxy. But the observers missed something important. They did not see the secret meetings in underground bunkers. They did not notice the resources being moved to hidden locations. They did not understand the meaning behind the quiet conversations between humans who never looked directly at the cameras. The Council had made their biggest mistake when they decided to humiliate humanity. They had poked a sleeping giant and thought it was dead just because it did not immediately strike back. Humanity was not dead. Humanity was planning, and when they were ready, the galaxy would learn that there was a difference between being violent and being vicious. Violent creatures lash out without thinking. Vicious creatures wait, plan, and strike when their enemies least expect it. The Council wanted to see human nature. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. General Yoon Jae-sung walked through the hidden base carved deep inside an asteroid near Neptune. The place did not exist on any official records. To the Council's watching eyes, it was just another piece of space rock floating in the dark. But inside, thousands of humans worked day and night on the greatest secret project in Earth's history. They called it Project Homecoming. The goal was simple: make the aliens pay for what they had done. "Show me the progress report," Yoon said to his aide. Engineer Choi Mi-young stepped forward with a tablet. She was young, barely 30, but her mind was brilliant. Before the quarantine, she had designed cargo ships. Now she was building weapons of war. "We have completed the first prototype, General," she said. "It looks exactly like our old cargo haulers from the outside. But inside," she led him to a viewing window. Below them sat a ship that looked like junk. Its hull was patched and dirty. Its engines looked old and weak, but Yoon could see the hidden truth. Beneath the fake outer shell was the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. "The Council's sensors will see what we want them to see," Choi explained. "A broken-down human freighter barely able to fly. They will not detect the plasma cannons, the quantum shields, or the jump drive we copied from their own technology." Yoon smiled. It was not a kind smile. How many more can you build? We have the materials for 50 ships, sir. Maybe more if our mining operations stay hidden. The mining operations were another secret. While the Council stripped resources from the outer planets, humans had found new ways to gather what they needed. Automated systems worked in the asteroid belt, far from alien eyes. They pulled metals and rare elements from rocks that the Council thought were worthless. Every piece of salvaged alien technology helped. When Council scout ships crashed or broke down, human recovery teams got there first. They studied everything: weapons, shields, computers, even the aliens' waste disposal systems. Nothing was too small to learn from. Dr. Kim Tae-ho had made the most important discovery of all. In his secret laboratory, Kim looked at the brain scans on his screen. He had been studying human neural patterns for months, comparing them to data stolen from Council medical files. "It is incredible," he said to his assistant. "The Council has been watching us for 50 years, and they never noticed." Noticed. "What, Doctor?" the young scientist asked. "We are immune," Kim said. "Not completely, but enough. Most alien species communicate partly through telepathy. Their brains naturally connect with each other. It is how they built such a united society." He pulled up another scan. "But human brains are different. We are natural telepathic resistors. When aliens try to read our thoughts or influence our minds, they hit a wall. They just think we are too primitive to connect with." This was huge. Many Council decisions were made through mental consensus. Their military tactics relied on psychic coordination. Their leaders used mental influence to control their people. None of that would work on humans. "They think we are chaotic and unpredictable," Kim continued. "But we are not chaotic. We are just free from the mental control that keeps their society in line." Agent Kang Do-hyun had been living among the aliens for 3 years now. To them, he was just another human servant, too stupid to be dangerous. They let him clean their ships, serve their food, and listen to their conversations. They had no idea he understood every word they said. Kang had learned 17 alien languages. He knew the layout of every major Council facility. He had memorized their military codes, their trade routes, and their political secrets. But most importantly, he had learned about their weaknesses. The Council was old, so old that they had forgotten how to fight real wars. For thousands of years, they had faced only primitive species that could barely fight back. Their tactics were designed for crushing weak enemies, not for fighting someone who could fight back. Their ships were powerful but slow. Their weapons were strong but took time to charge. Their shields could stop almost anything, but they used enormous amounts of power. Most critically, their commanders were arrogant. They made battle plans assuming the enemy would be too scared or stupid to do anything unexpected. Kang sent his reports back to Earth using a method the aliens never suspected. He hid messages in the waste disposal systems of the ships he cleaned. Human pickup crews would find the data and pass it along. To the Council, it just looked like garbage being thrown away. Captain Park So-ra stood in the new command center built inside Earth's moon. From here, she could coordinate with every hidden base, every secret ship, and every undercover agent in the galaxy. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship positions, and tactical data. Young officers worked at computers, planning attacks that would not happen for months or even years. "Status report," Park ordered. "All stealth ships are in position," her tactical officer reported. "The aliens still think they are watching simple cargo vessels. They have no idea what is really hidden in our holds." "Good. What about the deep space bases?" 47 locations now operational. The Council believes they are abandoned mining sites. They do not bother to scan them anymore. Park nodded. The plan was working perfectly. Humanity was building a secret fleet right under the aliens' noses. Every ship looked like civilian junk from the outside, but was a deadly weapon on the inside. The hardest part was staying patient. Every day brought new reports of humans being mistreated in the alien facilities. Every week brought new insults from the Council about human intelligence and worth. But Park knew that patience was humanity's greatest weapon now. The Council expected humans to be violent and rash. They were watching for signs of rebellion, for angry attacks that would justify even harsher treatment. Instead, humanity was being quiet, calm, planning. Engineer Choi Mi-young worked 18-hour days designing new weapons. She had learned things about physics that human scientists had only dreamed of before. Alien technology was advanced, but it was also predictable. The Council had been using the same basic designs for centuries. Humans brought something new to the table, creativity. Where aliens built massive energy weapons that took minutes to charge, Choi designed rapid-fire systems that could punch holes in enemy shields before they could adapt. Where aliens relied on heavy armor, she created weapons that could phase through solid matter. But her greatest creation was the virus. It was not a biological weapon. It was a computer virus designed specifically for Council systems. Every piece of alien technology the humans had studied contained the same basic programming, the same security codes, the same command structures. Choi had found a way to turn all of that against them. When the time came, one signal from Earth would plant the virus in every Council computer system at once. Their ships would lose navigation. Their weapons would shut down. Their communication networks would collapse. The aliens would be blind, deaf, and helpless, all at the same time. Dr. Kim Tae-ho made another breakthrough while studying alien biology. The Council species were all highly evolved, but that evolution had made them weak in some ways. Most aliens could not handle high-stress situations. Their nervous systems were designed for the peaceful, controlled environment of Council space. When faced with real danger, many species would simply freeze up or panic. Humans were different. Humans had evolved through constant warfare, natural disasters, and survival challenges. Stress made humans stronger, not weaker. Fear made humans fight harder, not surrender. Kim began developing psychological weapons designed to exploit these weaknesses, sound frequencies that would cause alien nervous systems to shut down, light patterns that would trigger panic responses, chemical compounds that would make their natural fear responses spiral out of control. The galaxy saw humans as violent primitives. They were about to learn that human violence was not primitive at all. It was the result of millions of years of evolution that had created the perfect predator. All across the solar system, humanity prepared for war. But they did it quietly, carefully, with the patience of hunters waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Council continued to watch Earth through their observation posts. They saw humans living normal lives, working normal jobs, raising normal families. Everything looked peaceful and resigned. The aliens were pleased with themselves. They had tamed the violent humans. They had shown a dangerous species their proper place in the galaxy. But they were watching the wrong thing. They were looking at the surface while the real work happened far below. They were counting sheep while wolves gathered in the shadows. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn the difference between human violence and human warfare. The Council wanted to see what humans were really capable of. They were about to find out. Director Oh Sung-min looked out at the gas mining platforms floating around Saturn's largest moon. Titan Station had been humanity's pride once. Now it was a prison camp run by alien overseers who treated humans like disposable tools. 3,000 people lived and worked on the station. Men, women, children, and elderly folks who had called this place home for decades. Now they were all slaves, forced to work 18-hour shifts in dangerous conditions while aliens took everything they produced. O had tried to make the best of it. He followed the rules, kept his people quiet, and hoped that good behavior might earn them better treatment. For 2 years, it had worked. The aliens largely ignored the humans as long as the work got done. But things were getting worse. The new commander, an insect-like creature called Zeflock, had arrived last month with new orders. The council wanted more resources extracted faster. They did not care about human safety or comfort. They wanted results. The quotas are impossible, O told his deputy, Colonel Bae Hyun-soo. We cannot extract that much gas without risking everyone's lives. The equipment is not designed for this kind of pressure. Bae was a former military officer who had been stationed on Titan when the aliens arrived. He was a hard man, but even he looked worried. I tried talking to their supervisor, Bae said. He told me that human lives are replaceable. If some workers die, they will just bring more from Earth. Oh felt sick. The aliens really did see humans as animals, useful animals, but nothing more than that. A young worker named Kim Ji-woo ran into the office. She was only 16, one of many children who had been born on Titan. The station was the only home she had ever known. Director, she said, breathing hard, there has been an accident in Section C. The pressure systems failed during the gas extraction. 5 people are hurt. O grabbed his emergency kit and ran toward Section C. When he got there, he found 5 workers lying on the floor. 3 were unconscious. 1 was bleeding from his ears. The last one, an elderly man named Park Young-ho, was not breathing. Get them to medical, O ordered. But before they could move, Zeflock arrived with a squad of alien guards. The insect commander looked at the injured humans with cold eyes. What is the delay? He demanded. Why has production stopped? There was an equipment failure, O explained. 5 workers were injured. 1 may be dead. We need to shut down this section until we can make repairs. Zeflock made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. Injured workers are not my concern. Repairs are not my concern. Production is my concern. You do not understand, O said, trying to stay calm. If we keep operating this section, more people will be hurt. The pressure systems are failing. Then, the workers will need to be more careful, Zeflock replied. Production will continue. Colonel Bae stepped forward. Sir, with respect, we cannot ask people to work in unsafe conditions. These people have families. The alien commander turned his attention to Bae. Are you refusing a direct order? I am asking you to be reasonable. That was when Zeflock drew his weapon. The alien energy gun made no sound when it fired. There was just a flash of blue light, and Colonel Bae collapsed to the floor. His body was burned and smoking. The other humans stared in shock. O dropped to his knees beside Bae, but there was nothing he could do. The man was dead. Production will continue, Zeflock repeated. Any further delays will result in additional consequences. Word of Bae's murder spread through the station within hours. The humans were angry and scared, but they had no weapons, and nowhere to run. The alien guards carried energy weapons that could kill instantly. The station was surrounded by the vacuum of space. O tried to keep everyone calm. He held meetings in secret, urging people to stay quiet and follow orders. Maybe they could get word to Earth about what was happening. Maybe help would come. But 3 days later, the situation got worse. A group of young workers, led by Kim Ji-woo, approached O with a plan. They wanted to sabotage the gas extraction equipment, forcing the aliens to shut down operations until proper repairs could be made. It is too dangerous, O told them. If they catch you, they will kill you like they killed Bae. People are already dying, Ji-woo replied. Yesterday, 2 more workers collapsed from exhaustion. The day before, a pressure tank exploded and injured 6 people. We cannot keep living like this. O understood their anger, but he also knew that any resistance would bring terrible punishment. Please, he said, just give me more time. I will find another way. But the young people were done waiting. That night, they slipped into the maintenance areas and began sabotaging the equipment. They were careful and quiet, but not careful enough. The alien security systems detected the sabotage within minutes. Guards surrounded the young humans before they could escape. Zeflock arrived at the maintenance bay with 20 armed soldiers. The 6 young saboteurs were forced to kneel on the floor while the rest of the station's population was herded into the main hall to watch. "These humans have committed sabotage against Council property," Zeflock announced. "This crime demands punishment. Please," O begged. "They are just children. They made a mistake. I will take responsibility for their actions." "You will," the alien commander agreed. "You will all take responsibility." What happened next would be remembered as the darkest day in human history. Zeflock ordered his soldiers to execute all 6 saboteurs in front of the assembled crowd. The young people were shot down one by one while their families screamed. Kim Ji-woo was last. She looked directly at O before she died and whispered, "Remember us." But the executions were just the beginning. This station has proven that humans cannot be trusted to follow simple orders, Zeflock declared. The Council has decided that Titan Station will serve as an example to all other human settlements. O felt his blood turn to ice. "What do you mean?" "This facility will be cleansed. All humans here will be terminated. The recordings of this event will be broadcast across the galaxy so that other species can see what happens to those who defy the Council." The massacre that followed lasted 6 hours. The aliens hunted humans through every corridor of the station. They killed workers, families, children, and elderly people without mercy. They used energy weapons that burned their victims or froze them solid. They vented sections of the station into space, letting people die in the vacuum. O tried to organize resistance, but it was hopeless. The humans had no weapons and no training. They were civilians who had been turned into targets for alien soldiers who saw them as less than animals. Director Oh Sung-min died defending a group of children in the station's school. The alien soldiers shot him down as he tried to shield a 5-year-old girl with his body. By the time it was over, Titan Station was silent. 3,000 human beings had been murdered. Their bodies floated in the corridors or lay burned in the ruins of their homes. Zeflock walked through the devastation with satisfaction. "Record everything," he ordered his soldiers. "The Council wants other species to see this. They need to understand what happens when animals try to bite their masters." The recordings were broadcast across the entire galaxy within hours. The images were horrific. Families gunned down while trying to hide, children crying over their dead parents. Elderly people shot in their beds. The aliens had not just killed the humans. They had made sure to do it in the most brutal way possible. The message reached Earth 12 hours later. Ambassador Lee Woo-jin received the transmission in his office. When he saw the first images, he had to run to the bathroom to vomit. By the time he finished watching the entire recording, his hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the communication device. The images showed people he had known personally. Oh Sung-min had been a friend. Kim Ji-woo had sent him drawings when she was little. Colonel Bae had served with honor for 30 years. Now they were all dead, killed like animals for the crime of being human. Lee called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. President Nam In-soo watched the recordings in silence, his face growing harder with each passing minute. "How many people saw this?" the president asked. "The aliens broadcast it to the entire galaxy," Lee replied. "Every species in Council space has seen what happened at Titan Station." "And what was their reaction?" Lee's voice was barely a whisper. "They approved. The alien news networks are calling it a necessary demonstration of proper order. They are praising Zeflock for handling the human problem so efficiently." President Nam stood up slowly. When he spoke, his voice was cold as ice. "I want to speak to the Council directly." The emergency session was held the next day. Ambassador Lee stood before the full Galactic Council, knowing that billions of beings across the galaxy were watching. This would be humanity's last chance to seek justice through peaceful means. "Honored Council," Lee began, "I come before you to demand justice for the innocent people murdered at Titan Station." Councilor Velthari responded with obvious boredom. "Justice? The humans at Titan Station committed sabotage against Council." property. They were punished according to galactic law. They were families, Lee said, his voice breaking. Children. Elderly people who had never hurt anyone. They were slaughtered like animals. Because that is what they are, Velthari replied. Animals that bite their masters must be put down. Admiral Han Ji-woo stood on the bridge of the flagship Revenge, hidden in the darkness between star systems. Around her, 200 human warships waited in perfect silence. To any alien sensors, they still looked like old cargo haulers and mining vessels. But beneath their disguised hulls lay the most advanced military technology the galaxy had ever seen. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her communications officer announced. Han looked at the holographic display showing the locations of Council military bases across the galaxy. Each red dot represented a target. Each target held alien forces that had cheered when the Titan Station massacre was broadcast. "Tactical Officer Jion, confirm target priorities," Han ordered. Tactical Officer Jion Ye-jin pulled up the attack plan. She was young but brilliant, with a mind that could calculate battle outcomes faster than most computers. She had spent months studying alien military positions, looking for weaknesses. "Primary targets are the Council's main fleet bases," John reported. "Secondary targets are their communication hubs and supply stations. We hit them all at the same time so they cannot warn each other or coordinate a response." Han nodded. The plan was simple, but devastating. In exactly 1 hour, human ships would attack 200 alien military installations simultaneously. The aliens would not know what hit them. "What about civilian populations?" someone asked. "We avoid alien civilians whenever possible," Han replied. "This is not about killing innocent people. This is about destroying the military power that killed our people and making sure it never happens again." But everyone on the bridge knew that this war would not stay clean for long. The aliens had crossed a line when they murdered 3,000 humans. Now humanity was crossing a line too. "Begin final preparations," Han ordered. "In 1 hour, we show the galaxy what happens when you hurt our people." Strike Team Leader Lim Seo-jun crouched in the ventilation shaft above the Council's main command center on their capital world. His team of 12 elite soldiers had been infiltrating the facility for weeks, disguised as maintenance workers and cleaning staff. The aliens never suspected that the quiet humans who emptied their trash and cleaned their floors were actually Special Forces operators gathering intelligence and planning explosives. "Team 1 in position," Lim whispered into his communicator. "Team 2 in position," came the reply from another part of the facility. "Team 3 ready," reported the squad positioned near the alien communication arrays. Lim checked his watch. 53 minutes until the attacks began. His job was to capture the Council leadership alive so they could face trial for their crimes. But first, he had to disable their defenses and cut off their ability to coordinate with their fleets. Through the ventilation grate, Lim could see Counselor Velthari talking with other alien leaders. They were discussing plans for expanding human slavery to other parts of the galaxy. They spoke about humans the way farmers might discuss livestock. "The human breeding programs should be expanded," Velthari was saying. "We need more workers for the deep space mining operations. Perhaps we should allow them to reproduce more freely." "But what about population control?" another alien asked. "We do not want them to become too numerous." "Simple," Velthari replied. "We periodically cull the excess population. A massacre every few years will keep them afraid and manageable." Lim felt his jaw clench. These creatures were planning to systematically murder humans for centuries to come. They were treating genocide like a routine management tool. He looked at his watch again. 50 minutes. Dr. Kim Tae-ho sat in a hidden bunker beneath Seoul, monitoring the biological weapons he had created for this moment. Each weapon was designed specifically for different alien species, targeting their unique biological weaknesses. For the insect-like Zephlokians, He had created a virus that would cause their respiratory systems to shut down. For the reptilian, Veltharians, a chemical compound that would disrupt their nervous systems. For the jellyfish-like Aquarians, a toxin that would destroy their ability to maintain their liquid environment suits. All weapons are ready for deployment, Kim reported to his team. The delivery systems are in place on every target world. His assistant looked nervous. Doctor, are you sure about this? Using biological weapons is what? Kim asked. Wrong? Evil? Tell that to the families who died at Titan Station. Tell that to the children who were murdered for being human. Kim pulled up images from the massacre. They started this war when they decided that human lives do not matter. Now they get to learn what it feels like to be helpless. But Kim knew that crossing this line would change humanity forever. Once they used biological weapons, they would become something darker than they had ever been before. The galaxy would never see humans as innocent victims again. He looked at his watch. 45 minutes. It was a price he was willing to pay. Captain. Park So-Ra monitored the final preparations from the command center hidden inside Earth's moon. Screens around her showed the positions of every human ship, every alien target, and every friendly agent across the galaxy. All stealth ships have reached their positions, her tactical officer reported. The aliens still have no idea we are there. Good, Park replied. What about the computer virus? Ready for deployment. Engineer Choi's virus will activate the moment we give the signal. Every council computer system will be infected simultaneously. Park smiled grimly. The aliens relied heavily on their technology. Their ships, weapons, and communication systems were all controlled by interconnected computer networks. When those networks failed, the aliens would be blind and helpless. Status of Agent Kang? Park asked. In position on the council capital. He has confirmed the locations of all primary targets and is ready to assist the strike teams. Agent Kang Do-hyun had spent years pretending to be a simple-minded human servant. Now he was about to reveal what he really was. Humanity's most dangerous spy. The aliens who had ignored him were about to learn that the quiet little human who cleaned their ships knew everything about their military secrets. 30 minutes until attack, Park announced to the entire fleet. This is for Titan Station. This is for every human who has suffered under alien rule. Make them remember this day. The final minutes ticked by slowly. Across the galaxy, human forces made their last preparations. Weapons were charged. Target. Coordinates were confirmed. Strike teams moved into final positions. At exactly 1800 hours Galactic Standard Time, Admiral Han Ji-woo gave the order that changed the galaxy forever. Execute Operation Homecoming. All units attack. The first strikes happened so fast that most aliens never knew what hit them. Human ships dropped their disguises and opened fire on alien military bases with weapons that should not have existed. Plasma cannons that could punch through any shield, quantum torpedoes that phased through armor. Energy weapons that turned massive alien dreadnoughts into expanding clouds of superheated gas. At the Rigel 7 fleet base, 30 alien warships were destroyed in the first 60 seconds of the attack. The base's shields, designed to stop any known weapon, collapsed under the assault from human quantum cannons. At the Vega System Supply Depot, Strike Team Leader Lim's forces disabled the defense systems from within while human ships attacked from outside. The entire facility was captured in minutes along with its alien commanders. At the Centauri Communication Hub, Agent Kang revealed his true identity by systematically destroying the alien command structure from within. The aliens who had treated him like a pet discovered that their pet had teeth. But the most devastating blow came from Engineer Choi's computer virus. At 1801 hours, every council computer system across the galaxy received the same hidden signal. The virus activated instantly, spreading through their networks faster than they could react. Alien warships suddenly lost navigation and weapons control. Communication networks went silent. Defense systems shut down. Even life support systems on some ships began to fail. In 30 seconds, the Galactic Council's military went from being the most powerful force in the galaxy to being helpless targets, floating in space. Dr. Kim's biological weapons were deployed next. Automated systems released targeted toxins on alien military worlds, affecting only the species that had participated in the Titan Station massacre. The weapons were carefully designed to be non-lethal at first, causing pain and fear rather than death. But the message was clear. Humanity could kill any alien species whenever they chose to do so. The psychological effect was devastating. Alien. Soldiers who had never felt fear suddenly found themselves paralyzed by terror. Species that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years discovered what it felt like to be helpless. Within 6 hours, humanity had achieved what seemed impossible. They had crippled the most powerful military force in galactic history, but Admiral Han was not finished. Phase 2, she ordered. Target the Council capital. The human fleet that had been hiding near the Council's homeworld revealed itself, in a display of firepower that left the alien leadership speechless. Hundreds of ships appeared from nowhere, surrounding the planet that had been the center of galactic power for millennia. Captain Park Sora's voice echoed across the capital. World from every communication system on the planet. People of the Galactic Council, she announced. President Nam In-Su walked into the Great Hall where the Galactic Council had once ruled over hundreds of species. The chamber that had witnessed 50 years of human humiliation now hosted a very different kind of meeting. The surviving alien leaders sat in chains before him. Councillor Velthari, who had once called humans animals, now cowered in a containment field designed to hold the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. The proud reptilian's scales had lost their shine, and his yellow eyes no longer held arrogance, only fear. Behind Nam stood the new human leadership, Admiral Han Ji-woo, who had crushed the Council's military. Dr. Kim Tae-ho, whose weapons had shown aliens what terror felt like. Captain Park Sora, whose fleet now patrolled the galaxy's most important trade routes. The chamber was packed with representatives from every species in the galaxy. They had come not as equals, but as beings seeking mercy from humanity's overwhelming power. "Let us begin," Nam said quietly. The trial of the Galactic Council took 3 days. Evidence was presented of 50 years of human oppression, culminating in the massacre at Titan Station. The aliens' own recordings were played back to them, showing how they had laughed about human suffering and planned even greater atrocities. Counselor Cathara, one of the few council members who had sometimes spoken against the worst anti-human policies, was allowed to speak for the defense. "President Nam," she said, her aquatic form trembling in its containment suit. "What happened to your people was wrong. Many of us knew it was wrong. But surely mercy is better than revenge." Nam looked at her with cold eyes. "Mercy? Like the mercy you showed the children at Titan Station? Like the mercy you showed when you enslaved our people and treated us like animals for 50 years? We were following the law," Cathara pleaded. "The Council's decisions were legal under galactic governance." "Your laws are void," Nam replied. "There is a new power in this galaxy now, and we will write new laws." The sentences were announced on the 4th day. Velthari and the other leaders directly responsible for the Titan Station massacre were condemned to life imprisonment on a prison world where they would experience the same conditions they had, forced on human slaves. The rest of the council received lesser sentences, but all were banned from holding positions of authority ever again. But the real shock came when Nam announced the new structure of galactic government. "The Galactic Council is dissolved," he declared. "In its place, we establish the Galactic Federation. Earth will hold a permanent leadership position with veto power over all major decisions." The alien representatives gasped. This was not just the end of the Council's rule, it was the beginning of human dominance over the entire galaxy. Ambassador Shin Bora, who had replaced Li Wu-jin as Earth's chief diplomat, read the new terms that would govern galactic civilization. First, all species found guilty of participating in human oppression will pay reparations equivalent to 50 years of lost economic development plus damages for lives lost. The amount was staggering, enough to cripple the economies of dozens of worlds. Second, all human settlements and territories are recognized as sovereign Earth space. Any interference with human activities will be considered an act of war. This meant that humanity now controlled vast regions of the galaxy that had once been considered Council territory. Third, Earth will have access to all alien technology and scientific knowledge without restriction. Any attempt to hide or withhold information will result in immediate sanctions. The aliens realized that their technological advantages, the basis of their power for millennia, were now humanity's to command. Fourth, the new Federation will be headquartered on Earth. All major galactic decisions must be approved by human leadership. And finally, Shin continued, Earth reserves the right to intervene militarily in any situation deemed threatening to galactic peace or human interests. The terms were not negotiations. They were demands backed by the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. Counselor Kethara raised a trembling appendage. President Nam, these terms are extreme. Surely we can find a more balanced arrangement. Nam's expression did not change. You call these terms extreme? You enslaved our entire species for 50 years. You murdered our children for entertainment. You broadcast our suffering across the galaxy as a warning to others. He stood up, and every alien in the chamber seemed to shrink back. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. Mission accomplished. We learned exactly where we belong, at the top. The signing ceremony took place a week later. One by one, representatives from every major alien species put their signatures on the documents that established human hegemony over galactic civilization. Some signed willingly, recognizing that cooperation was better than destruction. Others signed because they had no choice. Human fleets surrounded their home worlds, ready to enforce compliance. Dr. Kim Tae-ho had made sure that every species understood the consequences of refusal. His biological weapons were still deployed throughout the galaxy, held in check only by human mercy. Any world that rejected the new order would face extinction within hours. Engineer Choi Mi-young had done her part too. Every alien computer system now contained hidden human monitoring programs. The galaxy's former masters could not even send private messages without humanity knowing about it, but it was the psychological victory that mattered most. Captain Park So-ra stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as human colonies spread across worlds that had once been forbidden to her species. Humans were no longer confined to Earth or relegated to slave labor in alien mines. Now they were the colonizers, the explorers, the rulers. Status report, Park ordered. Colony ship Delta 7 has established the new settlement on Rigel IV, her officer reported. The former alien military base has been converted to a human city. Population is already at 50,000 and growing. What about the alien residents? They have been relocated to designated areas outside the main colony. They seem cooperative. Park nodded. The aliens were learning to live under human rule the same way humans had once lived under theirs. The difference was that humanity's rule came with the constant reminder of what happened to those who resisted. Admiral Han Ji-woo reviewed the latest intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Human agents, many of them former slaves who had learned alien languages and customs, now operated on every major world. They reported on alien activities, monitored potential threats, and ensured that the new order remained stable. Any signs of organized resistance? Han asked her intelligence chief. Minor incidents on a few worlds, but nothing significant. Most alien species seem to have accepted the new reality. The ones that have not, he shrugged. are no longer a concern, Han finished. She had learned to be ruthless when necessary. The galaxy had taught humanity that mercy was seen as weakness. They would not make that mistake again. President Nam In-soo stood in his new office on the space station that had once been the Council's seat of power. Through the massive windows, he could see Earth rising like a blue jewel against the stars. His home world was no longer a quarantined prison. It was the capital of galactic civilization. Ambassador Shin Bo-ra entered with the latest reports from the former Council worlds. "How are they adapting to the new order?" Nam asked. "Better than expected," Shin replied. "Most species are focusing on economic recovery and staying out of human affairs. A few are even requesting permission to establish trade relationships with Earth colonies. And the others? The Zeflokians attempted to organize a resistance movement last month," Shin said. Admiral Han's response was decisive. "There will not be another attempt." Nam nodded. The Zeflokians had been the species responsible for the Titan Station massacre. Their home world was now a glowing monument to human retribution, a reminder to the galaxy of what happened to those who killed humans. "What about our former allies?" Nam asked. "The species that spoke up for us. During the quarantine? They are being rewarded," Shin assured him. "Preferred trading status, technology sharing agreements, protection guarantees. We remember our friends as clearly as we remember our enemies." This was important. Humanity's rule was not based purely on fear. Those who had shown kindness to humans in their darkest hours were now reaping the benefits. But those who had participated in human suffering, they were learning that humanity had a very long memory. A communication alert chimed. Shin activated the holographic display, and the image of Agent Kang Do-hyun appeared. He was now Director of Intelligence, overseeing human operations across the galaxy. "Mr. President," Kang reported, "we have received formal surrender documents from the Veltharian colonial government. They are requesting permission to maintain their existing settlements, in exchange for tribute payments to Earth." "Terms?" Nam asked. 20% of their annual production, plus educational exchanges that will allow human students to study their technology. They also offer to provide information about any remaining Council loyalists in their territory. Nam considered this. The Veltharians had been among the most vocal supporters of human oppression, but they were also one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their technology and knowledge could benefit humanity for generations.